giant rat. That makes me feel like he's a rat.
Ray Fillet! Oh, that was great. Okay, but before we get into the fact that I like this movie a lot more than I thought I was going to, good old Papa Brock's got to preach again about something that's incredibly stupid.
Oh, boy.
That nowadays people just can't help but find something to bitch about. Everyone, this does not look like Spider-Verse. Shut the hell up. Just because your animation is stylized does not mean that it looks like Spider-Verse. This could not look farther from Spider-Verse if they tried. Literally couldn't. There was stylized animation before Spider-Verse came out, and there will be afterwards.
And just to add to that, every single project that has come out since Spider-Verse has not really even looked like Spider-Verse. They all have their very unique quirks.
They do. If you saw anything, like I'm just looking at the background in the sky, there's not a frame in it that looks like Spider-Verse.
Nope.
Whatsoever. Like, here, I'll do us all a favor for 2 seconds. Did y'all see that? It looks nothing like it whatsoever. None of the like 5,000 animation styles they had in there look just like that. Shut up. Anyway. So I really honestly had no idea what to expect going into this movie. But I did end up liking it quite a bit. I will say I basically didn't watch any trailers for this. Now I was just like, it's whatever. I'll just experience this how I get it. The movie started, I legit forgot they cast a Jackie Chan as Splinter.
Yep, they did.
So when his voice hit, I'm like, what in the... Oh, yeah, they did say that.
I think one thing I like immediately, and as you can see in our thumbnail image, is I said this in my Letterboxd review that whether they intended it or not, they basically paid homage to like the entire history of the Turtles.
They did. And whoever cast this movie deserves a raise. Whoever made the music for this money deserves a raise. I am loving more and more now in the year of our Lord 2023 that it's being more acceptable to just put a whole lot of hip hop into superhero-esque movies. It's taken a long time, but we're getting there. You can have something other than pumping butt rock. Rap's okay every now and then.
And not only that, but it's just all of the East Coast classics.
It is.
You got Gangstar, De La Soul, like Ice Cube's character like makes a cute little reference to Ice-T.
I was like, he's literally quoting rappers as he's talking. I'm just like, I wonder if he even wrote it in himself. He's just like, I'm gonna say this, and you're gonna record it, then you're gonna put it in. But yeah, man, this was so well done. Now, this is the first, weirdly even, because like this is the first big budget animated movie that they've done, but this was the first one that I felt was more zeroed in toward kids. And this was also the first and most, I want to say, hammered it in that this takes place in the real world. There was references out the wazoo, like normal. Like teenagers this day and age would talk about these people because that's what teenagers do. They're obsessed with celebrities.
Okay, let's start there because I cannot believe in the fucking 40 years that this franchise has been around that only now have they actually cast legit teenagers to play the Turtles.
It's kind of weird. It's kind of weird.
And what's cool is like during the recording process, they actually put them in a room together, and you hear that in their performances.
As they should. I've been watching more and more about rest in peace, Kevin Conroy. He was on We Hear Voices. Will Friedle and can't think of her name, Kim Possible.
Oh, Christy Carlson Romano.
Yes. They had him on there and they were talking about how Kevin was how he had the big ensemble reads and like for other things they didn't have that, and then it was like Will was the one that during like I guess Batman Beyond was like, no, I want ensemble reads. Like that sucks recording in a booth alone.
Yeah, I remember back when they were doing Justice League, that's one of the things that Andrea Romano really wanted to, like, she wanted to have the Justice League together.
As you should. You get better chemistry and better actual reads of being in the room with people. Like, I remember the freaking old footage of, I can't think of his name, the guy who voiced Aladdin, talking about how utterly impossible it was because he was looking through a glass plate at Robin Williams voicing the genie, how hard it was to have scenes with him because he's just like all over the place. But yeah. And like, here's my favorite thing. And this is some friends of mine. They're just like, I don't know if I'm going to watch this. I don't think if I can stand the thought of the turtles being teens. I'm like,
it's literally in the title.
Did you forget? Or did everyone all of a sudden just remember that in all their carnations, they've been made to look like they're 25 when they're not? It's been that way ever since they stopped murdering people in black and white. They've always looked like young adults. 25-year-olds. They aren't. They're literally called teenage. It's the first fucking word. So I can't believe there was honest to God backlash about making them teenagers.
Media literacy is down the drain.
It's ridiculous. And like, yeah, but I remember it was a big enough thing about how they were going to make the ooze of an alien origin in the Bay produced films. And then everyone's like, oh, they're changing it. Now they're going to be alien. I'm like, no, there's still going to be mutant turtles. Just the ooze would have been of an alien origin. Y'all literally don't listen to things that are told to you. You can still be a mutant.
Speaking of which, I love how this movie introduced TCRI.
Yes, it was fantastic. Which I didn't even know what TCRI stood for until like it was on the end in the end credit scene.
Yep.
I'm like, Cosmic's in there? What? But
that explains a lot. Even down to their supposed leader, played by Maya Rudolph, Cynthia Utram.
Yeah, because that's a normal last name. But anyway,
we'll talk about the mid-credits scene later. But for now, just like, if nothing else, the one thing this movie got right, well, it got many things right, but right off the bat, the one thing they got right was the chemistry of the turtles.
Oh, absolutely. It's great. That was one of the things that pissed me off so much when the Bay produced ones got canceled. I loved how well the turtles got along. That second TMNT movie was the most TMNT movie to ever TMNT. Like, they were not afraid to be just dumb. And I mean dumb.
It was basically the live action 87 series.
Exactly. It was freaking awesome. Krang looked like chewed bubblegum. It was great. They had the Technodrome and everything. It was awesome. And then I was like, we finally got to the point where they weren't ashamed to be stupid. And then we canceled it. And then now we got this. And I'm like, okay, now they're not afraid to be dumb. It's fine. And I love that I could best describe the animation of this style to be like messy.
Yes.
It's like dirty.
Like, you know, it's dirty, it's grimy, it's grungy. It feels like New York.
It does. It's great. And yeah, just you can identify the turtles without their masks on. You can like actually tell who they are. They have their well put together personalities that you actually see. It's not just like, oh, I gotta be angry all the time. It's like, no, he just takes that big doof brother thing together and actually like portrays it. It's nice that they don't have to stereotype the living shit out of them to make you know which is which. And man, it still blows my mind that we had like all of their most well-known villains outside of Shredder and Krang in this movie.
Yeah, it's basically just everyone except for the big one, which I like. I'm getting really sick of superhero movies and other like big adaptations blowing their wad with like the iconic baddie right off the bat. Say like I like how Christopher Nolan distributed the villains with the like his Batman trilogy. How he saved the Joker for the second part.
And how he didn't even initially even want to do a second one. He was just going to make Batman Begins and then be done. He was just like, here's a card. If you guys do something, go ahead. Like Scarecrow was perfect. And like there are situations where it can be done correctly and you need to do the first big baddie. Like in Captain America. It'd have been really dumb if you tried to do like a modern day Red Skull for the MCU. It can be done and it has. But it wouldn't have made any sense to do it other than there.
Yeah, that's kind of the exception to the rule.
Yeah, there's a couple of times where it's okay to do it, but it's awesome to leave stuff off. You can do that. It's okay. Build suspension. Leave them wanting more. But yeah, it's what's interesting about this is like there was only basically one villain in the movie, but you're introduced to like 13. This is the first time in my memory, cartoon or not, where they're getting along with 80% of their rogues gallery.
Yeah, it's strange. I would say my one disappointment is that I would have liked to see like Bebop and Rocksteady kind of stay villainous, but at the same time they were also just very likable in their portrayals.
They are. And it's like it was Seth Rogen and John Cena, right?
Yep.
Yeah. It's just like you also get this like, yeah, man. It's like we're mad all the time. Maybe it's just it's because of him we're always mad. and that kind of okay, bringing up the fact that we had all these people in here, we could kind of pull this off. This brings up a thing that both me and Mike have preached on about at separate times. Sometimes it's very okay to make a movie you want to do a lot of cool things in animated.
Yep.
Because that would have costed a metric ass load of money to do in live action.
Yep.
You wouldn't have been able to do this on the budget that Nickelodeon wanted to put this in for a kid's PG movie.
And that's the other thing. This movie it's outside of Spider-Verse, I would say this is like the first animated feature to actually earn its PG rating.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I can't remember the last time I watched a PG movie. I gotta think. The last PG movie that pops into my head is Airplane, and there's full-blown, full frontal nudity of a woman in that thing for 2 seconds. Wow, did times change since the 80s?
Oh, yeah.
But no, I'd have to think on that. But anyway, yeah, it was cool how basic, how this movie just kind of, it was done and over with in no time. And it was boilerplate, pretty simple. Again, it was more of a kid-centric movie, so they kind of just like went with it. I love how kind of old Jewish worrisome father they made Jackie Chan.
Mm-hmm.
with these kids, where they're going, I don't know what they're doing.
I love the design of like younger Splinter and the baby turtles.
Oh, that was adorable. My goodness gracious, that was so cute. And they also had clips of Jackie Chan in the karate stuff that they were watching. I'm like, that's pretty good. And they all and there's a bunch of stuff packed into this. I know you said you probably got a list of Easter eggs and stuff, but I love how we got Go Ninja Go in there for no reason whatsoever. It's just on a car speaker. I was like, if y'all badly animate Vanilla Ice, I'm gonna lose my shit in this theater.
I think what they did with just briefly playing that song in the car during a fight scene was enough.
Mm-hmm. That was pretty.
Speaking
good.
of which, the fight scenes,
they were great.
Yeah, this is the kind of stuff that you can accomplish in animation that, sure, you can do in live action, but it won't look as cool.
No, and they wanted it to look a certain way. They wanted to put a certain intent and laughter in certain parts behind it. That is very hard to do in live action. Which I try to explain to some people. There's just I don't know, it's a kid's movie, it's animated. I'm like, no, it's not. That is a stigma that I cannot believe is still a thing. It blows my mind. Give or take, yes, this one is a kid's movie, but you can enjoy kids' movies as an adult.
Yeah, and you can enjoy anything as long as it's just really well made.
Yeah,
and yeah, that's this movie in a nutshell. It's just really well done in pretty much every single aspect.
It is absolutely, like I said, in this, I did like how we have the fastest turnaround for acceptance of the turtles ever.
Yeah.
That was kind of man, they really just were okay with it. And I'm like, I got to remember the age group this is aimed at. And it is a good message where if you actually show that you're trying to do good and that they were doing it for the wrong reasons at first, that was kind of cool. And it's just you have to catch certain stuff that people are saying, Eastman High School. I was
and the pizza shop was the Laird.
Yes, exactly. That was pretty good. And I was waiting to see if there's going to be any other stuff that had brought up, but it wasn't. It's just I wanted somehow, for those that don't know, the Ninja Turtles are a giant ripoff of Daredevil.
Mm-hmm.
The hand,
the
foot, stick, Splinter. And yeah, I was just waiting for them to see who's what do you want, to go around running in a red clad suit all day and look like a devil? I was waiting on something, but we'll see. It was, yeah, I just like how they were open and brazen about certain stuff. The fact that I heard them talking about Attack on Titan during this movie, I was like, what's going on?
And on the board where Mikey was trying to sign up for improv class, you see a character from My Hero Academia.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know what that other picture was on the board. It looked like it was some sort of mech.
It could have been. I was just
if it was a Gurren reference, I would have jumped.
I would have lost my shit. That two little kids in the background would have been very not okay with me jumping out of my chair. One day, I'm going to get that reference to the movie. One day.
And it's going to sneak up on you, too.
It is. And I don't know where it's going to come from. There's going to be some guy that loves anime. It's coming. Trust me. I get it in anime all the time. One day, I'm going to get it in live action. If we would have kept doing Pacific Rim movies, I probably would have got it.
Oh, yeah. That would have been a good place to drop it.
Yeah, that would have been the one. But yeah, it is what it is.
Something that I really like is that there are 4 different parallel story arcs for each character. You got April and the Turtles paralleling their desire for acceptance. And then you have Splinter and Superfly kind of like paralleling as like parents, how they raise their children.
I did like how they had the kind of introspective him hearing his voice and it blanked out, realizing that in a way he's just being a less douchebag version of Superfly.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, yeah, you gotta think about that. Man, I just remembered the surprise party. I'm trying, like, it was so weird when he did a surprise party and the cardboard cutout came out. Because I'm like, those are poorly animated. Those are like realistic cardboard cutouts animated in style. Like my brain was like breaking. I was like, what the shit is this? Your movie shouldn't look like this if you're watching them. I'm like, that was such a weird choice, but it was awesome. There's like, and I love how they were all Chris's.
Yep.
It's just so weird.
And then hold on, there's one thing we have to talk about beforehand. Like after they were done like going grocery shopping, they're like, hey, you know what? The night's still young. Let's go see a movie. They go to this outdoor movie party, and it's Ferris Bueller's Day Off.
Day Off. Yes, it was pretty perfect. He's like, I bet is that how high school goes? Yeah, totally. In high school, you just go around, you just hijack a parade whenever you want to. Just like, what? You want to partially? That could have been where they showed Daredevil. Oh, that could have been it, but nah. Shoot. That was so weird. Again, seeing that is the bigger clash in animation styles. Like this whole movie was just weird. I loved it. It was a good type of weird when they chose certain parts like that to throw in the stuff. Yeah, the fight with I don't know what to call that thing.
Oh, are you talking about the super duper fly?
The super duper fly, who's like, he just poof, and just a horse walks off. Just like, so he's just a kaiju full of random. And I was like, I love how the most kids movie part of that. Well, I wonder what's gonna happen if you shoot that into the ocean full of animals. If it's gonna be just like, and it's just like there's ostriches in there. There's a whole clan worth of horses. I'm like, what is this ship over? Were you in the Ark? They're just like, no, we're just gonna be this big old thing. I'm like, you know what? If you're gonna do that, I get it.
Yeah, it is such a random collection of animals, like from the harbor, but
a New York harbor also.
But I'll accept that they did that for the laughs.
They absolutely did. They're like, what can we do? He's like, oh, this whole leg's made out of horses. It's just like picturing Ice Cube in the booth for this children's movie. It just makes me laugh. Just coming up with all this stupid garbage. Yeah, it was. And like the animation showing of once the humans like actually got on board of like the scene of like juggling around that TCRI solution was amazing.
Yeah, I like that quite a bit. I also like. Did you notice how very Sam Raimi Spider-Verse this movie got in the climax?
It did. It was very much the New York helping them out and all that. Yeah, it was fantastic. It's just like, you need some help, man? You want to get up and get out of here? It was great. It was fantastic. Yeah. And they got a lot of places they could go with the sequel to this, like the obvious big one that they're going to do.
We'll get to that, but something else that I thought paid off really well is like the first time the turtles come home, Splinter's like, where were you? I was so worried sick. You guys could be hurt. You guys could be milked.
Yes. Oh yeah. It's like, What does that machine say? It says Mega Milker. What? That machine, I told you this would happen. And I also love it was like, milk them until we have enough. It would take 98 turtles to fill that thing. Where are you getting the rest of this?
Seriously.
I love how that is a thing that also happens too, because keep in mind, that was the exact same thing that happened in the original Bay produced ones as well.
Oh, that's right.
It was. Yeah. That was just weird. This whole movie was just goofy. It's been a long time since I've seen this level of goofy in a movie.
Did you ever see the Mitchells versus the Machines?
I did not.
Okay, so A, that's on Netflix for those who don't know, and B, this is from the same director, or at least one of the directors, and it's just so cool to see him like sort of carve out his own identity as a filmmaker and make something that's very it has a very unique look to it. And then
absolutely.
And then when you combine that with like the writing of Seth Rogen and Evan Goldberg, it just makes for like the ultimate cinematic experience.
And I don't remember what the last movie was. I want to say it was Shazam. But like this and Shazam did something that I haven't seen done in a movie in forever. The like thank you for coming out intro thing.
Oh, yep.
That's coming back more. That's weird.
You know what? It's like those kind of intros have been very inconsistent.
Yeah.
There's always at least one movie a year that does it, but they're just very random.
Yeah, and it's like, and it's like, you got of all people. I get it. Seth Rogen is a big deal in making all this happen, but I was like, the eloquent, I'm going to say the big words to the kiddos guy is Seth Rogen. It's like, guys, why didn't we get Jackie to do this? But yeah, no, it was still cool. It was just, it's weird seeing that again. And yeah, that to me is just so much an old school now time for a future presentation, like on the VHS tape type of deal to me, always in my brain still. But yeah, this will also, again, I haven't watched cartoons in a while. This is the first time we're gonna, in my brain, gonna be seeing the turtles going to high school.
Yeah, that is actually a new sort of element, because I don't know if you remember from like, you know, the 87 series and pretty much every incarnation, whenever they like are amongst humans, they always disguise themselves in like a hat and a trench coat.
They do. Exactly. He's like, where'd you get this? Is this a Jose Canseco bat? You have got to be kidding me. Tell me you didn't pay money for this. You gotta know what a crumpet is to understand cricket. Yeah, it's always that exact same getup, and it never works because they're wearing a freaking trench coat over a giant turtle shell, so they look like a hunchback, like just monstrosity. They're trying to go amongst normal people.
I bet they got that from Fantastic Four, where Ben Grimm does the exact same thing. I don't know why the hat and the trench coat.
The hat and the trench coat became a big thing. I don't either, but it works for them, and it became a more regular deal. So I guess like I get it, but it is so much like a old comic thing for them that I believe, only came up with the nowadays thing. Because I don't remember in the old comics where they like talked succinctly and like peacefully about murdering people if they were actually caring about keeping secret identities.
Yeah, that's probably something they introduced for kids.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that was. I'm trying to remember if the '87 series was the one where back in the day. Oh man, do I feel like a 90-year-old when I'm only 32. Back in the day, in like the early 80s to mid 90s, there was a rule in children's programming, I believe just cartoons, it might have been live action shows too, where you had to have a certain amount of time that was educational during the show. And I
know where you're going with this.
I believe it was the Turtles cartoon, if I remember correctly, stuck it in the end credits so it never affected the actual show. They did like a PSA like service announcement during the credits. Even as a kid, I was like, that's really clever. I like what you did there, because even I'm catching on to this. The weird part about it was like that was around the time where they had like that and like the musical numbers during the Donkey Kong Country cartoon. Do y'all remember that monstrosity?
Oh,
God. It's free on Amazon. I watched some of that when it came back. Oh boy, is it still bad, and I still love it. Nintendo, what are we doing? Make another Donkey Kong cartoon. I want Knuckles doing well to spur that on. Because Nintendo should be whooping everyone else's asses at this point.
They should be, but
they're still gun shy about their properties. I know. Bob Hoskins and Sean Leguizamo drunkenly shooting stuff. Man, as soon as they get better and like they're more open to letting stuff do there, as long as they have the control over it, they could have a really good rough shot of it with like a Star Fox and a Donkey Kong cartoon going on TV, or like for a streaming service. I'm just saying that would do really good.
Mm-hmm.
You get me to buy a streaming service for a Star Fox or a Donkey Kong cartoon just for that. I'm literally getting Peacock to watch Knuckles over Halo. Everyone understand how bad you can screw up a property.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, yeah. I want this to help that out. Get animation of cooler stuff. Like, even if it's a known property, you can still make something cool out of it.
I have said for the longest time that the best thing you can do for The Legend of Zelda is do like an Avatar style, multi-part animated series versus just like, the boring thing to do and make a live action movie.
Like, and I'm not against it. Like, I talked to Mike when I was streaming last night and I asked him his opinion. I'm still okay if like they did this alongside a live action. Like, there's certain points where it works, but don't be afraid to do both. Or
as I'm talking, I'm pretty sure that they are going to do, a live action something alongside this new incarnation.
Oh, I don't doubt it. Nickelodeon has really gotten into the we want to put our money into stuff business finally, outside of just on their channel. So, and like everyone's getting into it. Like even Hasbro is like, we're making shit. They have like 47 fucking movies getting made right now. My God.
This industry is nuts. Studios, pay your actors, pay your writers, do the things.
Do the things. Don't be dumb. How can we have indie movies still going on? The indie movies that barely make their profits back and they pay their actors dirt because that's all they can afford. Those actors are getting what they're asking for. All you tightwads like freaking Bob Iger that make like $7,000 a day just for existing.
Ridiculous.
Says people are being unreasonable with their needs as you watch on your freaking tablet on your $400 million yacht. Remember before all this got out, how people used to like you, Bob, and cheered when you came back? And the second you actually showed who you were a stupid fuckbag? My goodness, you could have been the hero that would have been like, I'll give up 1% of my salary and pay all the actors what they want. Ha ha ha! I could still secretly be a douchebag, but get away with it. But no! Y'all are unreasonable!
It was the biggest mask off comment he's ever made. And now I have no idea who's still even defending him.
It's really hard to find someone. Like, the only person at this point who still is kind of putting their foot in their mouth about all this is Stephen Amell. Buddy, I still like you. Shut up. Please, for the love of God, stop talking.
Seriously.
Like, I get with what you're coming from, and people took your comments from that interview out of context, where you did say you agree with like 60% of it, but you were mad because you got shut down in the middle of work. Just please stop talking before it gets worse.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, this industry needs to realize that you can distribute the wealth and still have these people that don't do all the hard work still make 100 times more than their actors, even with paying them well. That's the dumb part. You could still pay them what they want and still make 1,000 times more than them.
Here's a statistic that really was eye-opening. Sean Gunn was interviewed early in the actor strike, and he said, like, in the 80s these executives were making like 30 times as much as like the actual talent. Now Bob Iger is making 400 times, and pay your writers, pay your actors, do the things.
Keep in mind, Disney makes what they made for Endgame every month. And all you guys have to do to give them that is pay less than $10 a month, and they get it. They are doing just fine. No one needs to say that they need more money to squeeze out of actors when they make enough to pay all of them what they want just in subscriptions from you people 15 times over a month.
Exactly.
There could not be less proof that they're in the right whatsoever with thinking that people are unreasonable. Anyway, back to the movie. The movie's really good. If you somehow watch this review and haven't seen it, go.
Now, for the people who have seen it and stuck around for the mid-credits scene, yeah.
He's coming.
He's coming.
He's coming.
So I have some theories.
Okay. And how he's a well-known person at this point. They're literally saying, go get the shredder.
Yeah, that's one thing. How he's I'm assuming he's kind of like a bit of a mercenary.
I would assume.
But also Cynthia Utram, she's not a human.
No.
Like it'll be revealed like in like the second movie or maybe one of the animated series that like there's a Utram operating the human exoskeleton.
Yes. Just ridiculous. I was just like, I love how it's always has been that is whatever it is. It was just like Utram. We didn't even try. We didn't call her like Cynthia Peterson. That to be like something off the charts ridiculous. Like, yeah, no, it's good. I hope this does really well. And I had a couple families in there, and I went on a Wednesday at 4:30. So when did this movie come out, by the way?
Technically today's like its opening day, but they had screenings yesterday as early as like 2:00 in the afternoon.
Like, I'm looking at the date and I'm like, that's a Wednesday. Why the hell would they put a movie out on a Wednesday? And just like, I guess kids after school, whatever, but still. Wednesday? Oh no, school will be out by now. That makes sense. My brain doesn't click with stuff like that.
Yeah, plus summer vacation.
Summer vacation, that is true. That's just so weird. Oh, Wednesday. Like not even Thursday, Wednesday. But yeah, it's cool. I really hope this does well, and I think it will.
Yeah. It's Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. Like there's a lot here to love.
Yes, absolutely. So yeah, go see it. Don't be the douchebag that's like, it looks like Spider-Verse and they're teenagers. I don't want to watch it. They're supposed to be teenagers. Stop it. All right, Mike, where can everybody find you?
You guys can find me on Twitter and Blue Sky at Captain K42. You guys can check out my quick thoughts on letterboxd.com/CoachK42. And you can follow Renegade Pop Culture on Facebook and Twitter at Ren Pop Culture. You can also find us on YouTube, on Podchaser. Subscribe to our Patreon at patreon.com/Renegade Pop Culture. Listen to all of our podcasts on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, wherever you listen. And last but not least, everything can be found at renegadepopculture.com. You can escape, so do we.
Absolutely. You can find me everywhere at Organoid Zero, mainly on Twitch and YouTube. And speaking of people free roaming New York, if you have a PS5 and you are interested in Spider-Man 2, you can tune into my Twitch channel on October 20th when it hits at midnight. I'll be doing a giveaway of the Digital Deluxe Edition. You just need to be watching the stream and be subscribed, and then you will get a little thing to enter something into the chat. And then about probably 2 to 3 hours into the stream, I will hit the raffler with whoever's in, and it will automatically pick a winner. It's all done with the streaming technology. It has nothing to do with me, no bias, no nothing. And then there you go. You could spend $5 to win something that's worth $80. I think that's a pretty good deal. Until next time, we will see you all later. Bye.
Peace.